former presidential candidate and loser, Rick Santorum, was talking to a radio show with the host Steve Deese. Now, they were talking about whether or not, and this is a strange topic, whether or not the sexual revolution trumps the American Revolution, or someone's erotic liberty trumps your religious liberty. Now, in response to that, Rick Santorum had this to say.
I would say that religious liberty is the first of rights. If you look at the First Amendment, I always describe it as religious liberty is the trunk from which all other liberties extend. Why? Well, freedom of speech isn't really worth much if you can't speak what you believe. Freedom of assembly doesn't mean much if you can't assemble for what you believe. Same thing with freedom of the press. Same thing with the newfound freedom to do whatever you want to do from a sexual orientation, sexual activity point of view. That to me is a much lower freedom because it is an activity. It is not at the heart of who you are.
No, it is. It actually is at the heart of a person. Orientation means a lot to people. Why do you think it affects people so intimately? You being straight is just as much of a part of who you are as a person, whether or not you're straight or gay. That's an intrinsic part of your identity. But no, to say, it's like, this is the problem with fundamentalists, right? Especially Rick Santorum. All they think about is the sex. Oh, it's just an activity. That's not the heart of who you are. Having sex is not is not part of who you are. That's just an activity. It's just what you do. You have some downtime, have a little sex, and just an activity. Do a little something activity. That's not really a right. It's not really right. This is what they focus on. They focus on solely on the sex part of it. And they ignore the fact that under the 14th Amendment, everyone is supposed to be treated equally for who they are. And this is this is Rick Santorum and other people trying to downplay, the Christian right, trying to downplay people's sexuality as an innate part of who they are. There are scientific studies that show that sexuality is incredibly important to self-identity. And your orientation, very important to your self-identity, to who you are. But Rick Santorum, once again, says, no, that does not, your erotic liberty does not trump religious liberty. How does your quote-unquote erotic liberty, somebody's erotic liberty, affect your religious liberty? It seems like you're coming over there and saying, what you are doing is wrong, and I'm not comfortable with it, so I'm going to make it so you can't do that. I want to make it so you can't do that. Even though it doesn't really affect me, I think it's icky and I don't like it. It's affecting my religious sensibilities. That right there is ridiculous. That right there is a violation of someone else's rights. You don't have the right to not be offended by something. And that's Rick Santorum's argument is, I'm offended by that because my sky god, my religious 2,000-year-old Bronze Age fucking book says, no, you can't do that. On whose authority? Oh, it's on God's authority. What if I don't believe in your God? What if I don't believe in your specific iteration of God? What then? Well, obviously, you don't have any rights. That's what this is about. If you don't believe the same way that I believe, you don't have rights. You don't deserve rights. And that's what this movement is all about in the Christian right, to deny gay people the same rights to get married. It's not about religious freedom. It's about them having the freedom to tell you what to do, to get in your bedroom, to get in your personal life. And that's bullshit.